Evening all. I thought for my final video of the day I would tackle the subject of Marvel versus DC. Over the years I've been fortunate enough to have witnessed some epic times. Although the times themselves were epic, usually the execution of the product wasn't. I know a lot of people, especially some older, used to always wonder what would happen if the characters of Marvel went up against the characters of DC. Now, back in the 70s, it wouldn't have mattered because DC's characters were so over-the-top powerful. Superman and the Spectre could have practically taken down the Marvel Universe by themselves. But now with all these different revisions and reimaginings and all that, everything's more or less on a level playing field now. But there are still things that just don't add up. And I'll talk about it by talking about 5 fights, some of which are understandable to a degree, others which are just mind-bogglingly, crazed. I believe it might be the best word for it. Let me start out with a basic one here. Batman versus Captain America. Now, Batman versus Captain America, that one really depends on what it is you think Captain America can or can't do. Now, from my point of view, I never thought of Captain America as having a superpower. Basically, I thought of him being prematurely juiced up by a machine that worked as an electronic steroid. In which case, had Steve Rogers been given the time to exercise naturally, whether it would have taken a year, whether it would have taken 2 years or whatever, he would have gotten to that point himself. That's why I've always felt that if you put Steve Rogers back into that machine and try to reverse the effects, he would still come out looking the same, as opposed to coming out looking like scrawny. But to others, I know that while they may not see Captain America per se having powers, they do see him as being benefited with the ability of never tiring, like he has endless endurance. Now, in my way of looking at Cap, you put Cap and Batman together, I would say ultimately Batman, would just find a way to outsmart him, not really necessarily outfight him, because Captain America has more time on his side to know how to fight, many years of fighting knowledge than Batman. But Batman always finds a way, regardless of if he has to play dirty tricks on someone, he'll find a way to take you down. Now, on the other hand, if you think Captain America does have that kind of endurance and is not left up to the any trickery on Batman's part, then unquestionably the fight would have to go in Captain America's favor, because when all is said and done, he'd be a better fighter and he doesn't get tired. So it really depends on which way you're leaning as far as that one goes. The next one is Thor and Wonder Woman, and I know most people wouldn't give Wonder Woman a snowball's chance in hell of beating Thor, or for that matter, even making it a fight. But I would stress to the people that would, write this match off, that Wonder Woman, much like Superman, had, well, I'm not talking about a JMS deal right now, but prior to that, she's just as fast as Superman or thereabouts, and he's nearly as fast as the Flash. So you have to kind of equate how much Thor's hammer can negate her speed. Not to mention whatever other weapons she'll have at her disposal. Now, ultimately, I think Thor would win that fight, but I think it would not be a cakewalk. It wouldn't be one of those things where they punked out like in Marvel versus DC and had Storm win a fight almost with relative ease, which should never have happened. But I digress. So yeah, I'd give that matchup to Thor. Ultimately, he would bring the thunder, so to speak, and I think it'd be a tad too much, even for an Amazon that's on a semi-regular basis has handed Superman his big red ass a number of times. Now the next one on the docket is Namor versus Aquaman. I've never been one to particularly care for characters being matched up that were too close to each other in power set, but as far as this fight goes, and again, I think this is a mess up on Marvel's part, letting DC, giving DC the green light to have Aquaman beat this character, because the manner in which he was beaten, there's no way you can see it. Because if you go by Marvel versus DC, what Aquaman did was basically have a killer whale, have an orca, basically not swallow Namor, but definitely chop him down. So what you're going to tell me is, okay, I know that Namor is not going to punch a hole through sea life, but come on, you're going to tell me that Namor can't simply pry that creature's jaws open and have have Aquaman wear that hook as his own personal sea shish kebab? I don't think so. Aquaman is not in the Hulk's league. Aquaman is not in Superman's league, but Namor is in the Hulk's league. So that's right then and there. That was just to be a nonsensical battle, but nowhere near as nonsensical as Lobo versus Wolverine. Because with Lobo versus Wolverine, and these are two characters I can't stand. I've never liked Lobo. I can't say I've never liked Wolverine. Old Man Logan was pretty good, but overall I can't stand Wolverine. So I don't really have a dog to pick in this fight. But once again, you have Lobo, who's knocked Superman on his ass a couple of times, and we're supposed to believe that these two guys start fighting behind a bar, and Wolverine's the one that comes up the victor. And bear in mind, this is a scene done in Marvel versus DC as well, and it was with his bone claws. Keep in mind, I don't think Wolverine could have done anything with Lobo with his adamantium claws, much less his bone claws. But yet again, like I say, a fairly nonsensical fight. Now, to me, the biggest nonsensical fight ever, regardless of whether the pros do it, regardless of whether fans do it, it's Superman versus Hulk. It's a no-brainer that Superman would beat the Hulk 100 different ways. One way, Superman would take him into space. The matter he gets stronger, doesn't work when you can't breathe. He can fly circles or run circles around the Hulk, again taking away his breath. The matter you get stronger, doesn't work there either. So unless the Hulk is trained by Stick to be a samurai / ninja, which I still think Superman can hear him. There's no way that the Hulk should last 10 seconds against Superman, much less a full-fledged battle. And once again, the Marvel vs. DC book, even though they had Superman win, they made it like it was supposed to be one of the greatest challenges of Superman's career. And, you know, he's fought guys like the Hulk for breakfast, issue upon issue of Superman in Action Comics. So, you know, Hulk wouldn't even be a warm-up match for him, at least not in my opinion. But anyway, that's my take on Marvel vs. DC, and in part, at least, you know, how I feel about some of these battles. Some of you feel similarly, let me know. Feel differently, let me know. I'm curious. Until then, night out.